There is a twisted beauty about a garage.
It's kind of fallen into a little bit of disrepair over the winter.
As long as the door's closed,
been a mess.
No one really has any idea of what's behind it.
But he built this one and that one there.
But for Kevin Nelson, his cluttered garage
I'll never tear those mountains down. You know, I won't change them. They're gonna stay like they are.
Is full of treasured memories.
That was James's, one of his favorite toys. He called it his big truck. And he loved playing in the dirt with that thing.
All of these toys stashed in a dark corner of Nelson's garage.
Another one of his favorite toys. This is his Paw Patrol RV.
Belonging to his grandson, James Dunkley Cruz.
Did you ever suspect any problems with James?
I knew that there was something going on, but I could never put it up exactly what it was. I never was able to figure it out. And then Amber and Lydia got him talking one day, and it started to come out.
Amber is James's aunt.
I just could read his body language and tell that there was something going on, whether it was verbal abuse, physical, emotional, whatever. Something, I could just tell something was going on.
As an aunt who loved her nephew, Amber knew she had to contact the agency in charge of helping New Mexico's children.
So I contacted CYFD the night that he got dropped off here, and I told them what he had shown up in with. He was in a full diaper, he wasn't potty trained, his clothes were tattered and ripped and stained, and he smelled, really bad and needed a bath. His hair was matted. So I called him and I said, he's here now, he's safe. What do I need to do to keep him in my home?
But Amber says CYFD didn't want James to stay with her. They wanted him to stay with Krista, his mother.
It was always denial, it was always pushback. It was me trying to reach out and figure out what I could do, what steps I needed to take, how I could help. And they kept telling me, we're helping Krista, we're trying to help Krista.
James's grandfather was even begging the agency to remove James from his mother's care for one reason.
About the abuse that was going on. I really don't want to go into that because it's not a pretty picture.
But Target 7 is about to show you what was going on.
What's your name? James.
Albuquerque police body camera video taken in October of 2019 shows 4-year-old James Dunkley Cruz at an urgent care in Albuquerque.
Has he got some malice around your ear too?
His arm bandaged up as investigators were busy taking pictures of markings on his body, including his genitals.
There's an alley down here.
After the visit, James was once again returned to his mother's home.
I actually pleaded with them. I said, well, you don't want to do that. And they said, no, we have to. And I said, well, you're going to feel awful stupid when this child comes up dead. And look at what happened.
What happened the night of December 10th, 2019, just after 10 p.m.
Another one's my son. He's not moving.
James Dunkley Cruz was dead 2 weeks before Christmas 2019.
I just couldn't believe it. And then as we found out more and more details about what happened and how it went down and who said what and everything, it rips me open, and it rips me open every day.
During the investigation, police centered in on Zarek Marquez. He was the roommate of James's mother. He was the one convicted of beating the 4-year-old to death and is now serving a life sentence.
Should James still be alive today?
Absolutely. This did not need to happen.
After James's death, a whistleblower from CYFD came forward with information. Because of that information, Nelson sued CYFD.
What did you discover after the death of James?
Well, I found out about CYFD hiding evidence. They were resetting phones that had notes in them. They were destroying pictures. They had all kinds of information that would have proven that he should have been removed from that home.
Those claims are made in Nelson's lawsuit against CYFD. The suit alleges CYFD had 8 investigations to determine any risk to James, including the day he was at urgent care. He was never removed from his home. In a deposition for the case, an investigator admitted they were instructed by CYFD to delete notes that the agency didn't want to be recorded in their system. In their response to the lawsuit, CYFD denied many of the claims made by Dunkley Cruz's family. They did not address the accusations that records were destroyed. Shortly after James's case and others like it, then CYFD Secretary Brian Blaylock resigned.
It really made me angry. It really I don't understand why people are like that. I mean, you work for this agency to help children. Why are you deleting stuff?
The story of James Dunkley Cruz is not unique in New Mexico. At least 26 kids died after CYFD placed them in homes. These are some of their pictures. Most of those children were just like James. And you've seen the stories, like this Valencia County mother who called 911 because she was afraid she was going to hurt her kids.
It's happened before in the past where mothers have hurt their kids and got to the point where they're killing them. I don't want you to ever do that. And I'm sure you don't, right?
CYFD responded. A week later, the mother called 911 again. This is what deputies found.
Oh, God.
A 4-week-old baby dead. Under New Mexico law, the state's first responsibility is to, quote, provide for the care, protection, and wholesome mental and physical development of children, and to, quote, preserve the unity of the family whenever possible. A child's health and safety shall be the paramount concern. But our investigation found that the understanding of exactly what that means runs the gambit.
The state law exists to say we should preserve the family unit if at all possible.
That's the common understanding. They'll be returned to biological family at all costs.
The Children's Code, though, in my mind, and I've actually talked to children's court judges about this, is number one, protect that child.
State Representative Marion Matthews helped write the Children's Code in the 1970s. At the time, it was created to address child delinquency. But over time, it helped create CYFD and guide their priorities.
And CYFD itself has taken on a number of roles, I think, that were probably not intended at the beginning, or at least anticipated.
The agency now oversees child protection services, the juvenile justice system, child care licensing, foster parenting, and behavioral health. Interim CYFD Secretary Teresa Casados, who took over 2 weeks ago, admits it's a lot.
Do you believe CYFD has taken on too many roles?
I think there's a lot, and I think that the way CYFD was structured, it may have been too much.